Ultimate 14.5. It's actually, unfortunately, a discontinued model, but these open boats, these basically plastic canoes, but they are sort of hybrid kayaks, are nice because they're super lightweight. You can just throw them on your shoulders, run through the woods, get to the water, and go. I think this one's 53 pounds, something like that. I'm going to take it in the shop here and show you how to do an install. Get the Torqeedo Ultralight on there, and then we'll get it out on the water, do some speed and range testing. All right, I'm here in the shop, and there's roughly two major parts of this install. One is finding a way to get this Torqeedo Ultralight mounting bracket on the back of what is a fairly narrow area. I think I could probably, no, I think it's too narrow. Even if I could tuck it in and get, you know, 4 bolts or 2 of the rear bolts back there, I don't know. I like making a purpose-built adapter plate, and this is an example of an old one. And I think I probably could just remove the handle, put it back on here, bolt this on, and the way I'm bolting it on, I could use this piece, but I got a much larger piece here that I'm gonna measure and cut out to shape. This one I actually got from a local plastic supply place, and it's, you know, it's it's half-inch starboard, or I think is it high density polyethylene, whatever. It's starboard or marine board. It's basically, you work with it like it's wood, but it doesn't absorb water like wood, and it doesn't warp and degrade like wood. It's basically a nice rigid plastic you can drill holes in. Anyhow, that's the first part, is making an adapter plate. All right, I was taking the handle off to have a flat surface to measure this stuff, and I found that threaded brass insert is an asset, and I will absolutely use it, drill a hole in this starboard once I've measured out what I need to, and sink an appropriate piece of hardware through there and secure it to that. It's not the only place that I'll be tightening down to, just because, you know, like I said before, I got the gear track down there that I'll probably put there and right next to that. But as many good hard surface contact points that I can get on that, the better. And these 2 inserts, when I'm done taking off that, will be part of it. I will reuse this. I'll get some more hardware and attach it somewhere on there, probably crossways, or maybe I continue this way. We'll see where the mount sits on here. But threaded inserts are your friend, for sure. Getting the mounting bracket on is one part. I'll run steering lines, tubes of some sort, and the Spectra cord, and it'll go up to the foot control steering. So I'm gonna start with them where the foot pegs, and these are fixed, you know, fixed foot pegs that are adjustable. You pinch them and they slide closer if you have shorter legs, and longer if you have long legs like that. But I'm going to take this off and I'll show you. We have the hardware there and there, and I'm sure that they have a neoprene washer on the inside there or something to make it waterproof. But we're going to replace it with that sliding foot pegs, and I'll slide that out and show you that that's what I'm going to be putting in place of that fixed piece. Once I have that set up in there, I'll go and slide this, sliding foot peg in, attach the Spectra cord, and run my lines and do the foot control steering setup. I forgot to mention I'll set up the throttle with the Torqeedo throttle mount. I do have a couple extras. I'll probably put some gear track here for the throttle mount. I did get some of these rotor grips, and then in the rotor grip I'm going to be using, I got a 6-footer. 6-foot Yakutech park and pole. Having a lightweight boat like this is sort of a a double-edged sword. It's nice that it's lightweight, but if there's a bad side to that, it's because it's lightweight, it gets blown around by the wind quite a bit. And I'm excited about the fact that we have this anchor trolley here. It's already part of, it's standard equipment, and I think we'll probably have an anchor wizard off the front. I'll probably put some more gear track up there. But to keep it from swinging in the wind, to take this and just, say I'm back in the grass at the back of Mattawoman Creek off the tidal Potomac, and I want to just jam that into the grass, and it'll keep this whole setup from swinging around. So that's it. That's the overview. I'm gonna take some measurements, and we're gonna go to Trey Leach's shop. Trey has the foot control steering kits, although I have the parts here for most of them. He's obviously a Torqeedo dealer, has all of these Yak Attack accessories. If you need a one-stop shop for doing this kind of installation, this kind of custom DIY, Innovative Sportsman has all that stuff. There's a couple great shops out there, but he's really local to me, so I'm gonna drive over there. The other reason I'm driving over there is that he's got a nicer saw than what I have. So after I take some measurements of this, I'm gonna use his saw to make a good adapter plate. All right, I'm here at Trey's shop, and we're gonna cut up some starboard. I have actually done the outline of the part that I want. It's at the back of the stern of the Ultimate 14.5, and that's gonna sit on there. So if I can borrow your saw, and we can just cut this out, and then I can finish everything else at home. Can you show us what you have in stock in terms of some of the supplies that I think I've already showed folks? If you need things to do foot control steering kit, show us what you got.
We stock a variety of different companies' products. The best foot controls that we found are the Select Designs foot controls. We try to keep those in stock. We're getting ready to place another order for those. We have a wide variety of Yak Attack items. We've got the 90-degree adapters. If you have track on your kayak and it's sitting on top, the 90-degree will get the foot controls so that they're facing the right direction, so they're not facing up. The Yak Attack throttle mount, we carry two different sizes, the inch and the 1.5 inch mighty bolts, the wing knobs, the tie-down eyelets, everything that you would need to do an install. And then, of course, we have tubing, and then over here we have a spool that is diminishing of Spectracord, but we've got some more of that on the way too. So we try to stock a little bit of everything.
So I have enough Spectracord from the last time I was here. Can I grab some tubing?
Yeah.
All right, I need some of that. I don't even know that I'm gonna use it because it's all open underneath the hull, but it's better to grab it while I'm here, and then we've got it. So, yeah. And S-beaners, these are the best for connecting that Spectracord at the end.
Yep. And we do custom installs here at the shop too, so we try to keep a little bit of everything so we have it when we need to do a special install on something. So
nice.
Yep.
All right, let's go cut this thing up.
All right.
All right, I'm back in the home shop. I got my rough cut there, and I'm putting the mounting bracket there, and I've already kind of scratched these, but I got a sharp implement here to just scratch and mark where I need to drill some holes, and that gives me a rough idea of where my mounting holes are going to be. I will figure out. I don't want overlap. Like, I don't want hardware from that to be in the same spot, because I don't think I'm gonna use it to tie in. But I'll get some rough I'd say measurements, but I'm gonna mark this and then take this to the grinder and just round out the edges and just make it a little bit more smooth than the way it is there. And then, you know, we'll drill some holes, and I'll find some 80/20 hardware that's long enough to go through here. I did notice I have a little bit of a high spot there. It kind of comes whoop right there. All right, got it rough cut, and then put it on the grinder just to shape a little bit. Then I just got a little bit of 80 grit sandpaper just to finish it off. You know, this is not a work of art. I just don't want it to have any rough edges. If you do want a mount that is out of this starboard that's in, you know, that's cut on a router, that's professionally done. There's 2 Torpedo dealers I know of that can do that for you. The Electric Kayak Company in Florida, it's Bob down there, does some really nice work. He's a Torpedo dealer down there. And then the guys at One Objective in Virginia, they do a great job, and they offer, you know, a bunch of different Torpedo specific mounts and accessories and stuff like that. So, all right, I'll finish doing this, and then I'm gonna drill some holes in it and find the right length 80/20 hardware to put this on there. All right, every build is different. In this one, I'm struggling with a little bit, but I've gone ahead and put the handle on there and taken the handle off. Just, you know, took the same one that was there, stuck it here on the plate that I'm making, and this is not smooth. This is high and this is low, and I think this is where I'm going to land with it. I'm going to take this mighty mount and put it on there. I don't really have access because right in here there's foam, which is flotation for the boat. I don't want to take that out. I could glue it back in, but I don't want to mess with it. So I'm going to secure this mighty mount here. We will drop the mighty bolt in there. We'll drill a hole in the right place for that mighty bolt, and we'll put a wing knob there to really tighten that down securely. This will be there, but ultimately the part where I feel like I'm going to get the most security is utilizing that insert on one of the 4 attachments. Now, mind you, there will be this starboard plate in between, so that'll be a really good connection. The other 3 bolts will be, you know, will be into there with some backing hardware on the inside, and you know, I'll have 2 other connection points there and there. It should be solid, and most of what's solid is the direct connect to that threaded insert. It just threw me off a little bit that this is a high spot. It's like a hump, and this is lower. It's lower by about the width of this. And in order to have this bolt be, you know, flat across and not kind of wobbling in there, I'm gonna do a trick that I've never done before. I've seen it done, but this is a solid cylindrical piece of high density polyethylene. Okay, so I'm gonna chop a section of it off, drill a hole through it, and drop my spacer for it right there. And I think I got to come up about that much. We'll see. It'll be interesting. Okay. Ended up making 2. I like this perspective to show you what these cylindrical spacers and the little bit longer 80/20 stainless steel hardware is going to do with this mighty mount and the T-bolt in there. I gotta take the T-bolt out to show you, but basically it evens it out so that this will draw down flush with this insert, and this one will draw down flush, and there won't be this gap where when the motor really torques down and it lifts up and then it relaxes, or even if you do reverse and you have, you know, torque in whatever direction that you go, it's all compressed together tight. And I had to have another attachment point here, and this was a high spot, and it's real gradual. I don't even know if you can really see it, but this contact point is much higher than this surface, and the insert is actually down in a little bit of a recess here. So I absolutely needed those spacers, and I think they turned out okay. So I'm getting ready to drill my holes, and hopefully everything will line up and I'll get the mounting bracket on there. A little bit of eyeballing things going on. That's okay. What's the expression? Measure once, cut thrice. No, I got that wrong. Okay, somehow that all checked out. Let's take a look. I've got one spacer here and one spacer here, and they both go to the threaded inserts where this handle used to be. I have one T-bolt back here connected to, all the way back here, there's a mighty mount. So, and you can really see that there was more space in here, and as you come down, you can see that high spot that eventually, when I finish putting the mount on, I'll drill a hole there, and there, get the mount on there. I've got enough thread to come up on this one. I'll probably drop one right in the middle and get into that hole. So I should have 4 connection points with the 4 solid connection points to the hull, and then 3 kind of floating connection points to the mount, which will go on something like that. That's what we're looking at. So a few more holes to drill, then I got the bracket on there, and then we can go up and start working on foot control steering. All right, I got that on there tight. I'm gonna give it a couple other contact points, just going through the starboard and directly into the hull. You know, there's no backing on these, but I'm gonna do, I think, 3 of them, and I think collectively they'll be good at helping the helping each other grab tight to it. I used a bit that's definitely smaller than the size hole. I mean, than what this hardware wants to be. It's just going to make it a really secure, tight fit. And beyond that, it's going to, well, the reason I don't use a driver on this is I do it by hand, because if you go beyond a certain amount of tension, like a driver could go too far, you're basically gonna start stripping out a which should be a really tight, snug fit. You won't do that with your hand. Yeah. Okay, that one's on there good. 2 more, and then we'll be done with this part of it. All right, this part I guarantee is going to be more straightforward than last. I just have some Phillips head screws here that I'm backing out, and this fixed track should pop out. We will drop this guy out and just replace it with the track for the hold that in place when I do this, for the sliding foot pegs. So what I actually pulled out of there were these, they weren't bolts so much as screws. Those are spiraling threads, and they were not gonna grab hold of the track. I don't know, is it? Almost feels like it's too low to be foot control steering. I kind of want them up here, but this is in the way. All right, it took a little bit of pulling this off the sawhorses and sitting down in it to figure out really what I wanted to do. This thwart was really just in the way of any sort of forward and backwards motion of my foot, so I took it out. I still feel like I need it because there's a little outward flex when you pick it up, and this protects against that. The foot pegs were really too close, and the thwart ended up being where my feet were resting on, and it still felt a little bit too cramped or close or something. I'll come back to figuring out something to create some structural integrity up here later on. I'll probably create another thwart, or we'll figure something out later that's not in the way of the foot control steering. As I was getting ready to put it in, it's a little bit low. And then I thought, what about this? It's a little bit too low, a little bit too close. I have access up underneath this turn. So I think I'm gonna move them right here. I moved the thwart out of the way. I'm gonna go ahead and close up these holes that I had. I think I got a plan. All right, so I measured what is comfortable here in terms of leg length, and the center of my foot throw is somewhere in this region. So I'm gonna put this right there and just drill some holes. One thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna be careful to do, is to collect this super valuable stuff, these little corkscrew shavings, because we have holes down here, and we're going to do a little bit of plastic welding. There's a little piece to seal those up, and these little shavings are going to be valuable material in doing that. And just a little bit. Once we're done getting these tracks in, we'll do some plastic welding. All right, I got the first foot slide on there, and I will tell you that I like to shorten these. I chop the end of it and put it on the grinder, sand it a little bit. And what that does is, there's always something this way or this way that the slide wants to bump into. And if you just make it shorter, because I don't think I need more than, what is that? 8-9 inches of adjustability. It's basically going to be my boat, and I might have someone who's, a little bit shorter than me borrowing it at some point, but I don't need it at kid leg length. So I'll probably have it there. Anyhow, I put the, these are the short little pieces of hardware that I found. Some little quarter 20 Allen bolts, and then obviously the same lock nut. I will continue it on this side, and then we will, when they put the seat on, make sure that that's on there firmly, and then we're going to turn it on its side and do the plastic welding. So let me continue with the track right there. Now remember, we're going to need these shavings, but I will tell you, shavings from 4 holes may not be enough, and there's no reason that I couldn't just keep drilling holes in there in an area that I don't need to be watertight. And I'm really just, I know it seems absurd, I'm sitting here drilling all these holes, but I'm really just harvesting this stuff here, so that I've got plenty of it when I start doing my plastic welding. All right, we got the sliding foot pegs I need, and I'm looking at places where the Spectra tubing can enter. I think I can stay up underneath here. Let me follow this all the way back. Yeah, it's all pretty open. I may do that with some P-clips, although it might just be just as easy to hide it up underneath there with a little bit of Gorilla Tape. No one's going to see it, and it's good stuff. Here's one of our holes, and we've saved the shavings. And if I don't knock the kayak over as I'm working on it, we'll be able to patch that hole in here just a second. So I just got a torch and just soften up that area just a little bit. Just let it get glossy. Sprinkle some of that stuff on there. Let it stick to it. Alright, that's catching fire a little bit. Gonna just mash that into that hole. That's a start. That one's stuck on there pretty good. Need a couple more little pieces like that, and this hole will be patched. Doesn't take a lot. It's not always the easiest to match the color, but all I really care is that it's watertight. I can always slap a sticker over this spot if I wanted to. I probably will. Get a nice Z-Man or St. Croix or NRS sticker over that. Maybe a Torpedo one, or an Innovative Sportsman sticker. Alright. So, just using the flathead screwdriver, and that sucker is watertight. Alright, 3 more to go. While I have the seat out, it's probably a good time to run the tubing, and this is going to be one of the easiest tubing jobs I've ever done. It is going to have a funky angle. I'm going to come in right there. It's going to run underneath there all the way to the back. So the only tricky part is a steep angle entering there. I'm taking that as shallow as I can get it there, but it's starting. Yep. Okay, so that little, honestly, it looks like the tip of a needle. So I push that out, And I heat it up and I mushroom it out the same way I do as if I did it at a right angle, but I'll breathe it. But it's at a funky angle. Okay, this is starting to feel like I will get some purchase, some little lip, but I've also blocked up that hole, so I got that little screw in there to open it up. You can see that it has that edge that as I draw it in taut here, yeah, it's going to be something that won't pull through there. So something that'll help it. A little bit of silicone right around the edge of it, and it'll be nice and clean. Alright, if you watch enough of my install videos, you know that the place that I want the steering lines to exit the hull is the width of the steering triangle. That's a pretty constant recommendation that I always have. And on this boat, if I come forward on it, it's pretty far forward in the boat. It's somewhere in this range. Now, I do have the anchor trolley on this side. I don't want to interfere with that. It's a good thing. Let's not mess with it. So I think we're going to do somewhere right in here. I think I can still reach that to push it through. Too much further, I got that flotation I don't want to mess with. So let me start right in about there. Sometimes it helps to cheat a little bit, and I'm cheating with, I used this tool to go in there, and then I threaded on the inside, I threaded that on there, and then just helped it find its way. I'm gonna pull this taut and do the same operation here I did at the other side. So I've run the Spectra cord through the tubing. It's come out here, and I'll do the same thing on the other side, but I just wanted to show you what I do with the Night Eyes S-Beaner. You can get those at all sorts of hardware stores, or I bought this one at Lowe's, I believe. And you can also use the little carabiners that come with the Torpedo. They're actually pretty nice, but I do so many installs that I lose track of them. So I just buy these, and they're good. So all right, tied that on there, and it's good and tight. I'll hook that up to the outer hole on the steering triangle, and then we'll go up to the front side and we will attach it to the sliding foot peg. Alrighty, got the foot control steering set up here. And these foot pegs are way far forward in the boat, which means my weight is going to be far forward in the boat. I haven't quite, and that helps trim it out, and it just makes it faster. I haven't figured out where I want the seat. I know I want it top side, but it's got this shelf. After looking at it, it's sort of obvious that, yeah, they made this pan here with a little shelf, knowing full well that people would put that little part on either side on the top side. The reason I'm not going to screw it down quite yet, this is going to be fun. This is going to be me finally being able to test, hey, how far forward is too far forward? So far, I've yet to find that boat. I got close to it with the Kilroy HD, similar boat, but at 53% of the boat behind me, I still hadn't started to slow down the boat. So it's only gotten faster as I've moved my weight forward. So it'll be interesting with this boat. I still have a little bit of work to do in terms of getting the motor lift and reverse lock lines, but I got to run to the hardware store and get some materials to finish that off. I do so many installs and I keep running out of the really nice gray torpedo cord in different lengths. I cut it in different lengths and I'm just out of this stuff. So I'll go get some parachute cord and set that up here in a few days. I'll get it out, get some speed and range numbers, and then figure out where I want the seat. One thing I was thinking of doing is taking these two. How long are these? The 12-inch? Yeah, 12-inch gear track. Putting that on the sides of the boat, and that way, you know, it can sit on top of this, and I can use a mighty bolt and a wing knob to quickly take the seat off. And, you know, might be some extra layer of rigidity added to the boat. We'll see. I'm not done rigging this boat out, but it is ready to test. So we'll get it out in the water here shortly. All right, I'm out here on Lake Marburg, and the prop is cavitating a little bit. I got to get it deeper, but I've already done this once. I'll show you what top end speed I got. Once it grabs, then it's pretty happy. You know, the first little bit, it likes to it just chops. It just gives you a little bit of cavitation. So right now I'm doing 7.2, 7.1, 7.2. I think I just scooted back in the seat a little bit. That's why I only hitting 7.2. But I had been hitting 7.2 pretty regularly. There it is. Yep. Yeah, it's back and forth. And I think it's only wavering between 7.1 and 7.2 because I've scooted the seat back. The reason I've done that, and I'm going to show you up front, it's sort of a narrow boat. I got water wanting to come in, so I've actually scooted back. Scooting back in this has allowed me to not have it actually pouring in up there. So, you know, 7.2 is a good speed with with any boat with this 3 horsepower motor. Most of them have been in that 6.5 to 6.7, 6.8 at the most. And then you have boats that are over 14 feet that are fairly light, have a long wetted surface, and they get over 7, and this is one of them. So happy with 7.2 miles per hour. I'll get the rest of the speeds and the watt draw and translate that into range so you can see what that looks like. Pretty cool rig. The steering's working pretty good. The foot control steering, I really didn't think that I'd have everything too far forward. You know, usually the further forward, the more efficient, and I don't think that I'm lacking any efficiency here. I think I've probably got that dialed in, but my legs and where I'm comfortable seated in this, the steering's a little further forward. So I will probably take these off and move them back to real close to that, and you know, then I can make the adjustments I need to. But you know, you can see that the spectra cord and the tubing, they're doing what they need to do, and it's a fairly agile boat. Part of it is that it's just a fairly lightweight boat, and it likes to turn. For a 14.5 foot boat, it likes turning. I'm almost turning around in my own length. So that's for sure a successful steering setup. All right, let's drop the hammer and go. So it's not doing it at this speed, but that little bit of propeller ventilation, it can be easily fixed. I have on the motor lift bar and the steering triangle, they're on two different ring clamps, one on top of the other. If I combine those and have just the steering triangle, put the motor lift in it, it's gonna give me about that much more depth. And I think at those lower speeds, I'll show you. I have to slow down all the way, and you can hear that chop, 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 chop. Part of it's that I'm so far forward, and I think once I get some gear behind me, the back is going to lower a little bit. I probably won't even have it, but let's do it at some low speed and see if you hear what I'm talking about. There. Just a little bit of that. That's fixable. And again, I think it's because I am so far forward in this boat. And then once it kicks in, it goes away. Once it stern squats. So a little bit of trim adjustment to do with this boat yet, but I'm happy with it. 7.2 is good.